the commentary box and just say a few words to the folks.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. It's really special to be here. We've had an incredible couple of days in Singapore. I was born here in Singapore, so it's very special to me. I'm pretty stoked to see the Singaporean team get the win in this semi-final and really excited to see them play in the final tomorrow against Thailand at the National Stadium. It's going to be amazing.
That's going to be a big one, and we can't wait for that. Dan, I know you've been to Singapore many a day, many a time. I saw you at the beach yesterday. What's been the highlight of your experience in Singapore so far?
Yeah, it's been a good few days here. So I arrived on Wednesday morning. Again, the luxury of not playing and having to sweat the whole time is you get to enjoy some of the other tourist attractions. So yeah, being down at Sentosa Beach today and yesterday. Yeah, a bit of go-karting this morning. So yeah, really enjoying my time here. Obviously, again, being here at the C7s, being able to watch some of the amazing talent here in the region as well, and some big finals as well tomorrow.
It's fantastic. You know, I saw you at the beach yesterday. I was playing in the beach fires. My team was short of a few folks. We heard rumors that you were going to don a jersey, but I think you wanted to rest.
Yeah, no, I think Chloe was trying to throw me under the bus. So yeah, Chloe's probably the only fit player still here. So she, in theory, should have been the one playing, but she decided not to.
Awesome. Chloe, I want to throw this back to you. I know you played a whole multitude of sports. You know, as I mentioned, the Singapore ladies, a lot of them have come through what we call the cross-code system, which is fantastic. You know, could you just say some stuff to, you know, the young ladies and boys listening out there, you know, to give rugby a go? What's kind of your advice to that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think rugby is just the most incredible sport. As a young girl, for me back home in Australia, I used to only grow up watching my brothers play. There weren't many pathways and opportunities for young girls to play. So even for me, like getting to travel the world now, like the fact that this is work, you know, getting to travel to Singapore and sit, have a chat to you guys, head down to the beach, watch a bit of footy, like watch a bit of rugby. It's a really cool opportunity. I think rugby is such an incredible global game, and I am so passionate about young girls and women having opportunities to play rugby, and so that's why it's really cool to be here today at the C7s and watch these incredible teams go at it. It's really special.
Exactly, and I think rugby is one of the sports where camaraderie is kind of second to none, right? I'm sure, Dan, you're still tight and close to some of your teammates back in the day. You see them on the circuit. You know, what's that camaraderie like to you? What's that mean to you?
Yeah, as Chloe mentioned, like rugby is so inclusive. Like as much as you may be enemies or battling on the field, you're able to, you know, still share a moment with them off the field as well. So yeah, it is nice to be here and meet some of my old teammates and watch them play this weekend. I'm excited to see how the GB boys go. Obviously, again, there's some amazing teams playing here, or peaking towards that Olympic medal in a few months in France as well.
Exactly. So I mean, I'd love to get both your predictions on what's going to happen in France in a couple of months. I'm going to be there myself. Not for the rugby for a wedding, but I'm going to try and sneak in to the Stade de France to watch some. But love to hear your predictions, folks.
I hope you do get. I'll be jealous if you get to sneak in. It'll be good fun. I think I've got to back the Aussie Sevens women in. I think coming off Dan's not very impressed. He wanted me to be a bit more creative there, but I got to back my old teammates in. You know, I think they're coming off the heartbreak in Tokyo. It wasn't the Olympics that they would have hoped for, that's for sure. I think they've had an incredible season so far. Singapore Sevens over the weekend is going to be a big weekend for both Australia and New Zealand in the women's to decide the league winners. So it's a big weekend, and I think in Paris, I'm backing the Aussies in to get the job done.
Awesome. How about Dan?
Wow. Yeah, I agree with that. I think the Aussie girls will be up there. I think it'd be amazing to see how they go. Potentially them or New Zealand, I would have thought. Again, probably France top three. I don't really want to give a men's winner. I'm too scared to say. There's probably about 6 or 7 teams that are pushing for gold. Anyone from Fiji to New Zealand. Ireland are obviously doing really well at the moment. Argentina. So I think I'm going to go for my heart and say Fiji. I would love to see them do 3 times. First team to ever do that. So yeah, my money's on Fiji. Yeah, I'm probably going to be wrong though.
That'd be really, really special. I mean, of course, Rugby Sevens only came into Olympics 2, 3 Olympics ago. It's been a long time coming, and I'm glad to see it stay for the long run.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think we're all quite looking forward to seeing as well Dupont playing in France as well in the amazing 70,000 seater stadium. So yeah, it's going to be a rocker, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I coach the under-13s at the SEC Rugby Academy. A couple of French boys there, and that's all they've been talking about.
Yeah, 100%. I think everybody's expecting something really big. Obviously, 2016 in Rio was obviously enjoyable for us too, personally. Chloe coming away with a gold medal, me only with a silver, so not as good as her. Tokyo was a bit quiet with obviously COVID and stuff, so I think everybody's really excited to see the buzz back into the Olympics with fans, with everybody there really enjoying the different sports there as well.
Wonderful. And tell us a bit more, I guess, being in the Olympics, everyone's all there together. It's very communal. What's kind of your experience there at the Olympic Village? I've only read about it, seen it. I'd love to hear it from you folks.
Keep it clean.
Keep it clean, Dan says to me. The Olympic Village is like nothing I have ever experienced before. I think for me, like I was 7 years old when I had my moment of watching Kathy Freeman win gold at the Sydney 2000 Olympics, and as a 7-year-old kid, I decided I wanted to win my very own Olympic gold medal. So to be on the plane with the Aussie team and to walk into the village, I think one of the big things that really stood out to me was all the different body shapes and sizes. I kind of thought that there was going to be like this specific like Olympic athlete look in a way that everyone fit into this box, but you had these like tiny Russian gymnasts and you had these huge American volleyballers and basketballers, and it was just all like the very best athletes in the entire world all in the one place. And I just had these moments of sitting down eating my dinner in the dining hall, and I'd have like people walk past me, I'd be like, geez, they look like Serena and Venus Williams.
And it probably was, right?
And it absolutely was. But it's just like that moment in your head, you're like, I'm in the company of superstars. So the Olympic Village was something pretty special. I tried very hard to find Usain Bolt. I've got second best sitting next to me in Dan Norton, but I tried very hard to find him. I heard he ate chicken nuggets before he raced, and so I spent a lot of time at Macca's waiting for him after we'd finished. But I waved at him up on his balcony. It was too much of a big deal to come down and say hello to the people.
2016 Olympics was a special one for us here in Singapore. It's when we got our first gold medal. Joseph Schooling with a gold medal was fantastic. We were backing our boy. He just retired, but so glad to have you both Olympians here with us, sharing your experiences to all the young kids listening. And of course, out today right now, we've got the C7s with Lao playing Indonesia. You guys have been here for a while. What do you think of the rugby from countries like Lao and Indonesia as, more of the development?
Yeah, so I spent some time with China men's team back in 2022. So I've kind of seen this kind of like age of rugby developing. It's obviously great to see tournaments like this happening in and around the World Series. It's great that obviously these teams get to get the exposure of playing at this level. It's only doing good things for the region and exciting times moving forward. Obviously the World Cup 15s as well. So that whole kind of breeding ground of players playing consistently, playing at the high level is what every nation and every sport needs. So it's great to be here. Some big finals coming up tomorrow as well, the Thailand women as well, and the final against Singapore. So this is kind of what the sport needs.
I just have a quick personal question for each of you. I'll start with Chloe. You're a sports convert. I'm always intrigued about this. What got you converted from basketball to rugby, and then now of course with the AFL?
Yeah, it's a good question. So basketball was my main sport as a young person growing up. I wanted to play for the Opals, the Australian team, and I made it to the WNBL, so our national domestic league, and I thought I'm one step closer, hopefully making my national team and then going to the Olympics. And I got hit by the pretty harsh reality that I was a true bench warmer in that team. I was playing for the Sydney Flames, and I don't know if there's any Patty Mills fans, but like I was like towel waving, like counting how many high fives I could give out to my teammates. I wasn't getting a lot of court time, so I went home after a pretty tough training session one day, and I typed into Google list of Olympic sports and had a look through a few different options. Contemplated triathlon because I was a good runner as a kid, good at cross country, not bad on a bike, but I hated swimming, so I crossed that off the list. And then I saw that Rugby Sevens was going to be in Rio for the first time in 2016, so this was about 3 years out. And I was pretty fortunate to be part of a time where obviously for women, rugby was still a developing game, and Rugby Australia actually went out on the hunt to find athletes from a whole range of different sports. They brought a number of touch footballers across. There was netball, athletics. I obviously had my basketball background. And so I think I was part of this really unique group of elite athletes who came together with the goal of winning an Olympic gold medal. And it was kind of just really great timing that I had the opportunity to be a part of that group that eventually went over and got the job done.
So we've got to keep your entire answer except for the part for Google. We won't let them take the credit for that.
That's fantastic. And Dan, how about yourself? Was rugby the only sport you played growing up, or what did you get stuck into?
I was a very boisterous, energetic child growing up, but my dad played rugby. Again, we're very social rugby grassroots in the UK, so that's kind of where I kind of got dragged along every Saturday and Sunday. Hated playing, exactly. Hated playing in the cold. That's kind of why Sevens is probably, I love it so much. I love being able to kind of travel the world. So Sevens gave me the opportunity to play everywhere and anywhere. So yeah, I fell in love with the sport from watching it with my dad, and then was able to then go around the world and do some really cool things. So yeah, very fortunate to have that opportunity.
So Dan, I've got a question for you. You've been credited with the most number of tries. So having achieved that, what's next on the list for you? And very important for, I think, a lot of the youngsters watching, a lot of the upcoming stars, how do you keep that consistency?
Yeah, so the big thing, obviously, when we were playing was around just wanting to compete and be as good as I could. Again, you have the same for Chloe. You're in a really good team where people are trying to drive to striving to be better. Training was really where I learned how to kind of be more myself and how to really impart those skills on the game. I think as I step away from rugby now, the big thing for me is trying to find kind of that consistency and that kind of level of performance away from rugby, which has been a challenge. Nothing really compares to playing in front of 40,000 people. So it's always a tough decision leaving sport, leaving rugby, but I'm enjoying the time away from it and finding out my new passion and what life kind of is now at the moment. So yeah, I'm enjoying the step away from it.
Well, I'll wish you all the best for that, Dan.
Thank you very much.
It's fantastic. You know, I was in Hong Kong for the Sevens a couple of weeks ago, and ex-England international James Haskell was there DJing.
Spinning on the
spinning,
decks.
you know, is that something on your cards?
No, I haven't got any rhythm or a good ear enough to be able to DJ. So yeah, he's doing really well, isn't he? He's taking over the world. He's everywhere. So yeah, it's good to see. Yeah, Hong Kong was amazing a few weeks ago. An incredible place. Again, I think everybody's quite excited to see how well this is going to go this weekend at the Singapore Sevens and stuff. So yeah, we're all kind of excited and building up that anticipation as well around the end of the series for the Sevens and into obviously the Olympics not too long out as well.
Exactly. I mean, Singapore Sevens has always been known as more of like the family Sevens. You know, lots of we're going to have kids playing during the intermissions. We're going to have ladies playing as well. You know, what's kind of, once again, you know, for those just tuning in, quick advice, Chloe, Dan, you know, for these young kids, you know, looking to improve their game. What advice would you give them?
Yeah, well, I think from a tournament perspective, it's about being able to go down there and see some of the stars playing. There's some amazing male and female stars playing, and you know, a way for them to kind of get into the sport and just view it and to see what the athleticism looks like. And that's kind of the starting point, right, for them. Anything else? What do you think?
I think my big one is I always talk about asking lots of questions when you're trying to learn something. I think there's often a lot of pressure on whether you're a kid or an adult, a lot of pressure in almost like showing that you know everything and wanting to prove to people that you're really good at what you do. But I think I'm really big on being teachable, and I think being humble enough to ask questions. I think for little kids, when you're trying to learn something new, don't feel scared to put your hand up and say, I don't know how to do this, and find someone who's really good at it, whether that's in person, whether you have access to a coach like that, or like Dan said, go and watch someone on the weekend at the Singapore Sevens, find a player whose style that you love and see if you can look up some of their highlights and learn from them in that capacity as well.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love the story where you shared how, you know, you weren't really making it big in basketball, you were warming the bench, but you did something about it, you tried to find a new passion, and you know, you made an effort to get out there, and you didn't give up, right? And I'm glad to have you here.
Yeah, I think the big thing is, as well as you mentioned, is about not being scared of making mistakes. Yeah. Like everybody thinks that their one sport, as Chloe's already mentioned, is the only sport they can play. Like it's about experiencing so many different situations, environments, teams, cultures. That's where you're really going to explore and find your own strengths as well. So not being afraid to make mistakes is a big part of that journey also.
Wonderful. And then if you didn't play rugby, you know, what would you think you'd have done?
I don't know. I think I've always loved sports. So I think I would have tried to, again with Chloe, trying to find a way or a different sport to try and finesse and trying to enjoy. But yeah, I'm a very sociable person, enjoy running around causing carnage. So yeah, some sport where I'm in a team, I would have probably found that backup as well. Amazing. You've had about 7,000 sports, so it's probably
Chloe,
not worth asking the question, is it?
Once Chloe's done with AFL, I mean, touch wood, hope it lasts real long. What's next for you think?
Is there going to be another switch?
I think no more switches. 3 has been plenty of sports. A lot of my family were pretty keen on me to try and come back to Rugby Sevens to go to Paris just because they wanted a trip to Paris. And I said, you can probably just book your own airfares and go over and watch. But
that's called incentive.
Yeah, exactly. I think I'll stick to the AFL for the time being. I had a bit of a rough run injury-wise, and I think I was going between both sports and just made the decision just to stick to the one. I think my body copped a bit of a battering. I wasn't fast enough like Dan to run away from contact, so got myself into a few injuries.
last question I have before I let you folks go. Obviously we're in Singapore right now. What's been your favorite food or
Yes.
place to visit? Tell me
Great-
about that.
great
I'm happy to give
question.
some recommendations as well.
Yeah, I would love some recommendations. We were at Maxwell Food Centre this morning. I ended up having some chicken laksa for breakfast because I'm so obsessed. I love the food in Singapore. I was so looking forward to coming back. Chicken rice is probably my deathbed meal.
Classic.
I love chicken rice. So yeah, any recommendations of where to get the best chicken rice or the best laksa, please let me know.
Yeah, we'll chat off air.
All right.
Then,
Yeah, definitely chicken and rice. Obviously, I've had it a few times. It's really nice down at the different hawker markets. I'm looking forward to over the next day or two to go down to the Satay Street, I think, isn't it?
Yeah,
so,
Lao
yeah,
Pasar,
yeah,
yeah.
so that's kind of where I want to try and venture out to maybe tonight. So if anybody's around, I might see you there. So yeah, I think it's open tonight. Is that right?
it is. I would love to join you, but I've got men's national 15s training after this right here.
Hard life, right? Hard life.
Half life. You want to wait till 9 p.m. or we'll
Okay,
head
fine.
over there?
I'll see
you
you
want
there.
to join us for
I'll
training?
see you there.
That'd be
No,
more
no,
than
no.
that.
I'm too old to training now.
Well, I have to say, for two of the coolest athletes we met from the rugby arena, how have you all been battling the Singapore heat? Has it been getting to you?
Yeah, I really struggled yesterday. Actually, when I got home and was ready for a shower, I could not believe how sweaty I'd been all day. But I'm acclimatized, you know. I'm back in my homeland. Day 2. I'm feeling good. I'm great. I'm ready to go.
Yeah,
Back to your roots.
Very,
Jacob.
very different approach to earlier. She was sweltering. I had a little swim earlier down at Sentosa, which is nice on the old hydro run. So
Yeah.
Chloe, unfortunately, was too busy drinking her cocktails to join me. But
So you must have done the indoor go-karting.
yeah,
just
so we
now.
did the go-karting, which I beat
Fantastic.
Chloe at, obviously. We did the golf as well down
Mini
there.
golf. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
mini
Yeah,
golf, and then
that's
we
good
went
shout.
on the hydro run. So yeah, really good experience. Again, seeing different parts of the country as well. So yeah,
Yeah,
we
and
really
we're
enjoyed it.
out here in Jurong West, which is not necessarily a place known for rugby. We're out here in the far west of Singapore, right in the heartlands. As you can see on my right,
He keeps
there's a
calling
MR
it the Wild West of Singapore. Yeah.
there's an MRT station,
Yeah.
there's housing here, and obviously rugby, and we've got you two awesome folks here joining us. But once again, thank you so much for your time. We're looking forward to catch up more during this weekend, and we'll hit you up on more chicken rice and laksa spots, all right?
Sounds good. Thank you for having us.
Please do. Thanks so much for having
Thanks,
us.
Chloe, and thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Wonderful having you on board.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers, folks. And back to the rugby. If you guys were watching, we've got Indonesia and Lao right now. Indonesia
Thanks, guys.
with a
Thank you so
17-14
much.
lead
Thanks,
right
Chloe.
now. And we're just saying our goodbyes to Dan and Chloe, who we'll see more this weekend.
See you, mate. So back to the action here, and just to get you up to speed, well, it's Lao and Indonesia battling it out. Just about a little over 12 and a half minutes into this game. Let's very quickly remind you that Indonesia lead a 17-14 over Lao. And it's going to be a very, very interesting battle to see how the last couple of minutes go. So very wonderful that we had, well, two big stars, to keep us company just a while back. And that's how important, or just how, well, I'd say social Singapore rugby really is. Once you're a part of the community and the family, you just tend to become a part of it. So nearing that last minute of play, Harish, and it's
Yeah.
going to be an interesting one to see whether Lao can actually cap this off and win it.
It is, but Indonesia holding to their strengths. Real good players out there, some great skills shown. But Laos definitely, they can make an upset here. Big scrum there. Ball falls back to Lao. Indonesia looking to keep the score as it is. Have no gaps in defense. Big counter ruck there. Indonesia with the ball. And there he goes on the break. The fans back home are cheering him on. And he scores in the corner.
Well, much needed here from, well, Team Indonesia, and that is really a fantastic dive.
Heartbreak there, as Lao were actually real close to potentially winning that. They've improved as the day went by. Real great attitude from the boys from Lao, but Indonesia just pulling away that one.
So it's been a very, very good effort from Team Indonesia. Now, of course, a chance to convert.
Loving the
And,
batik team on their shots, very, very on brand.
And it was, well, Nanda Septian, Olan Sirigar. Well, with that last bit there, the last conversion, and Indonesia finish 24-14 as they get the better of Lao. It's time for us, of course, to move on to the next game, and which will be a very interesting one, because after Lao, Indonesia, it's going to be Philippines taking on Singapore in the men. So stay with us, don't go anywhere as we continue with our action in the C7s right here at the Jurong West Sports Centre. It's been a very, very interesting battle among the teams, and even with the delays, even with, of course, some of those, well, gems really coming from the teams that did not win their games, we still have had such an exciting day. So up next, Philippines versus Singapore. And Harish, I think this is that time where we know we are edging towards finding out who those big two will be that get into the final playoff, which happens on Saturday at the National Stadium.
That's right. Big game coming up. Singapore, Philippines always have been traditional rivals in the 7th Circuit for years. Singapore looking to take one on, and Philippines, of course, looking to put the points on Singapore. I see both teams warming up, looking sharp, and we're just about to have that game come on soon, folks.